We're good. All right, let's get rolling here. We are live and in person. Let's just open up one more thing here. There we go. All right. And this one is no good. We'll get rid of that one. All right. Thanks for coming today. And we have a special guest today. And this is your weekly coaching session with Manny, live webinar. I'm excited to have you all here. We had a few technical things there at the beginning, but I think we're ready to rock. And our special guest is Cindy Cipriani today. So you all should be able to see her on your screen. If you can't, there she is. Okay. I'm excited to have Cindy here today. You know, we have a lot of guests lined up, and we're going to try to continue to bring you the best people around so that you can build your business, build your career, build your life out there much better. Welcome again to this weekly session. So let me give you just a couple of pieces of background, and then I'll let Cindy take over and tell you more about herself. Yeah, okay. All right. Again, I'm running. There we go. Okay, so Cindy is what I guess you could call a certified grief recovery specialist. And she's overcome tremendous professional and personal obstacles that have led her to become an expert in gaining clarity in times of heartbreak and confusion. Her successful business ventures and experience. Now she works with corporate teams and a formula that we're going to talk a little bit about today called the 5C formula, an empowering program for employers and HR people that will help the staff become more engaged, productive, happy, and managing all that emotional life change, grief, or confusion they may experience in both their professional and personal lives. And we all know that we've dealt with some of that. She also helps individuals transform chaos and confusion into clarity when their personal lives change. She's written one book, which we'll show you a cover of in a minute, called Moving Past the Death of a Loved One. She's got another book coming out, the 5C Solution. So she's a busy lady. And let me let her tell you a little bit more about who she is. So Cindy, tell us a little bit about you, background, whatever else you want to share with the audience, and then we'll go into an interview.
Thank you so much for having me, Manny. This is my first Google Hangout, by the way, very first. I downloaded all of my technical ability to my sons at birth. So I'm just so glad that we got this figured out and I'm actually live and doing this. So thank you.
You're welcome.
A little bit about me. I have a business called Clear Path, and I help people to get clarity in their life when their life is confusing. And I've rolled this, I've had this process that I call the 5C solution, and I've actually now rolled it out to businesses, because when people have problems, they're still getting up and they're still going to work. And then they get to work and they're not as engaged, or they're not as focused as they could be, because their mind is still back with all of their problems. So now in HR, the big thing is, how do we get our team to be engaged? How do we get more productivity from people? And I always say that all success starts from within. So if people are having a lot of interior conflict, personal problems, and they're coming to work with them, then let's address those things so that they can come to work and be more focused and productive. So that's what I'm doing now with Clear Path, is going into businesses and teaching them the 5C solution.
Okay, great. So give us a little bit about, how did you get here? I mean, that's what people always want to know. You know, you have, what path led you here from, you know, you can take us back as much as you want.
Well, I will give you the very short version.
Okay.
16 years ago, Thanksgiving morning, I woke up in a psychiatric ward under suicide watch, just being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. I was 38 and just got out of a 20-year marriage that was just filled with chaos, abuse, and I also was shunned by my religion. And so at the worst time in my life, I found myself completely alone with no family, no friends, no job, and 2 teenage sons to raise. And in that hospital, I realized that that was not going to be the end of my story. I had a moment of clarity where I realized that I must be here for some reason. And I committed to doing whatever it took to put my life back together. I knew I was going to have humongous challenges ahead of me. And so I just asked God to help me to conquer those challenges so that I could create a path to move forward in my life so that I could celebrate again. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was the birth of the 5C solution. I actually used my hand as a memory tool. So first I got clarity, which is your little finger. Second, I made a commitment, which is your ring finger. Do you know why we wear our wedding rings on this finger, Manny?
No, I don't. That's
Back
good.
in the Roman days, they thought that we had a vein that went from this finger directly to your heart. They called it the vein of love. And
Okay.
that's why we wear our ring on this finger, and it symbolizes commitment. So that's the finger I use to show people that once you get clear in your life, you have to make commitments to move forward. And then as soon as you make a commitment, challenges are going to come up, which is the middle finger. So we need to prepare to conquer those challenges,
Right.
both external and internal. A lot of them are up here, what stops us from getting what we want. Then you need to create a path to move forward. That's your pointing finger, so you want to move forward. And after each step of your accomplishment, you need to celebrate, which is thumbs up. So that's the 5C solution.
Wow. That's how you remember too. That's tremendous. So you use that with clients? I mean, is that how you get them started?
Yes, and I started mentoring actually about 10 years ago to different nonprofit organizations. And as I was explaining the process, I realized that I kept using my fingers. And I realized that each one kind of went with the finger. So it became a memory tool, and it's worked with children, it's worked with women coming out of abuse, it's worked with people changing jobs, retirement, all sorts of things. Oh, a lot of Rowan students come to me.
Okay.
So the first thing we do is teach them the 5 C's, and then we work on getting really, really detailed into their life as to what's going on so that they can have clarity. And the reason I rolled it out to businesses is because it's my vision that I want to teach this to as many people as I can. And where are they going? They're going to work. So why not go into the business and teach the whole team so now people can start speaking in the same language? And the neat thing is that now when I talk to teams, they will talk to me in that language. They'll say, I got really clear that I had this goal and I committed to it, but now I'm having this challenge and I'm not really sure how to go forward. So they actually use their hand as they're talking to me. And it's really fun to see that, they have now a process that they can zero in on what their challenges are so that we can move forward.
Right. And so you have this great empathy, really. I mean, when you're out there teaching people, you've been there, you've walked down that path, which always gives us so much more when we're dealing with helping people.
Yes, I find that before all this happened to me, I was a very judgmental person. I grew up thinking everything was black and white. And if you just followed the rules, you'd be fine. And then I realized that life is so much more complicated than that. And people get into situations that they never dreamed they'd be in, and they react to things and maybe do things that they never thought they would do. I certainly did in my situation. So I do have a lot of empathy for people and zero judgment at this point. Because I just empathize. I want, to be able to help in sometimes the worst times of people's lives.
Okay, so you go into business and your real target is working with teams to try it. So give us some situations where, why someone would bring you in to an organization.
Well, I like working with sales teams a lot. I've been a salesperson my whole life, and I know the ups and downs, especially of commission sales. So people in the real estate business, people in insurance, people in construction, all these sales type jobs, automobile sales, they have a very unique and stressful job. And so if the boss wants their salespeople to be more productive, they would bring me in to not only help develop what's going on in their sales routine, but what's going on, what are they walking in the door with? What's going on at home? What's going on up here? You can only be as successful as you think you can be. So as a salesperson, if you hit a streak where you're not selling much, your brain just starts all of this negative thinking, and that just makes it worse. So we talk a lot about mindset and also how to celebrate what they've already done. So I have a real passion for salespeople because I've been one for so long. And if somebody had a business where they're depending on their salespeople, because nothing happens until there's a sale, right? They want to make their business more successful, and they go out and they hire coaches to give technique, and there's loads of technique coaches, but people will only practice the technique if they have the right mindset. And so that's where I come in. If you've hired coaches before and you say to yourself, well, my team's heard this before, why aren't they doing it? Well, it could be something behind what's going on inside of the person that they're not really able to, they know it, but they're not practicing it. So I get to the root of why they're not practicing it.
Now, is that a lot of that one-on-one, one-on-many? What kind of process do you use?
I go in and first do a team meeting so that I can teach the 5 C's. And then I meet with each person individually. And I give them, there's emails and things that go back and forth, but I give them some homework to do on breaking into their life down into 5 different areas. And we talk about what's going on in those 5 different areas, what they want to improve on, who they are as a person, their core values, and how I can help them to create more structure and more contentment in their personal life so that they can move forward. I'll give you an example.
Sure.
I was working with the sales team, and there was a man who, for the past couple months, his sales had dropped off. The boss just couldn't figure out what was wrong. He said he just didn't seem like himself. And so I met with him for just 30 minutes, and he told me that he didn't feel like a success as a father. And I said, why would you feel that way? And he said, well, all of my children's friends have gone to Disney World, and I can't afford to take mine. And so I feel like a failure. Now, that's something he would never go to his boss and tell him. But that's what was going on up here. That's what was creating this vacuum in his life. He felt like a failure. So we broke it down. We got really clear that what he wanted to do was provide this trip for his kids. And he said, I want to commit to it. So I sent him to one of my friends who is a travel agent. And she sat down with him and said, well, you don't have to fly. You could drive to Disney. How many days do you want to be there? What's your budget? Let's make a budget. And so he started to realize that maybe it wasn't his ability to take his family. So then he came back to me and I said, well, let's now are you going to commit to this? He said, yes. I said, okay. So a year from now, go home and tell your family we're going to Disney, and involve them, teach them the 5 C's. We got clear we want to do this. We're going to commit to it. So they opened up a bank account, and every month they committed to putting a certain amount of money in the bank account. The kids started doing little side jobs so that they could add to the account. And the challenge was sticking to it, sticking to the budget. So every time they went out, the kids begged for something, he would say, well, do you want to put it in the Disney fund, or do you want to spend the money? And they would say, oh, let's put it in the Disney fund. So he was teaching them a tool. He was teaching them how to save money. He was teaching them the value of money. He was teaching them patience and anticipation. And so they did this all year, and they made this step-by-step plan, and then they celebrated by going to Disney. And he said when they got there, it was so much more meaningful because the kids realized how much money it took. They weren't begging for extra things while they were there. And the father felt like he was the dad that he wanted to be by providing this, providing this trip for his kids. So that's an example of, his problem had nothing to do with work. He became so productive at work that he was able to add extra money to that fund because now he had a purpose, he had a goal. So if you've ever watched the Undercover Boss show,
Right.
It's kind of like that, where I go in and I have these confidential conversations where things that they'd never normally tell their boss. And I'm able to help them so that they can really get clear in their personal life so that they can be more productive at work.
That's a fantastic story and so real life out there because and I can relate to your thing with salespeople. There's always something outside the norm that's holding them back. They may be the best skilled person and they should be making 3 times what they're making. And so you're coming in there and you're actually trying to pull that out of them. And that's a tremendous thing. And you've had some success doing it.
It's been so fulfilling because, like I said, I've been a salesperson for practically all my life. And it's not so much my product, it's the people that I'm with that is my passion. So this just gets me even closer to people because they divulge things to me that they wouldn't divulge to other people. And then I feel so excited because I actually have a tool for them to use so that they can get past this problem and be more successful in their life.
Okay, great. I want to just take us back one step because I don't want people to forget that you did this other book, as you did a first book before all this happened called Moving Past the Death of a Loved One. And want to share a little bit about that with us?
Sure. Through my journey, I've lost 28 people that have been very close to me. And I've been with most of them when they died. And I was always looking for something in the grieving process that would help me, not just with the initial grief, but how do I move on from here? And I couldn't really find a book that helped me on a daily basis because when you're grieving, you only have a short attention span. In this book, I've written little daily readings that people can ponder so that they can know how to move forward in their life. I also went for training as a certified grief recovery specialist so that I also have a process to help people who are really stuck in grief and they can't see tomorrow, they can't see the world without the person they've lost. And it's come in really handy because when I do the 5 C's with people, when we do the clarity part, people sometimes don't even realize that the thing that's holding them back is a loss that they've had in their life that they've never dealt with. I've had people who are retiring and at that age and they're saying, I never really accomplished what I wanted to. And we start talking about why they feel that way. And they'll say, well, my father passed away and he was my inspiration. And when I lost him, I lost my zest for life. Or, they've had a loss where it might be they moved and they lost their support system. There's all sorts of losses that people have that when they get clear, now they need to know how to move forward with them. So I'm really, I thought I wanted to be a grief, just deal with grief. And that's why I wrote the book. But now it's bloomed into so much more than that. But I'm glad I have that piece because it really helps people. We can first get them past the grief and then go into the 5 C's about how do we go from here.
Okay. And so that's wonderful. And now you have the new book coming out. Is that something that you committed to when that's coming out yet? Or what can the audience out there expect?
This is the cover.
Excellent.
I wrote the book and I actually entered an inspirational author contest and I won. So now I have an agent and she sent me 5 hours of video on how to build a platform in order to get a publisher to publish your book. Because, these days you can self-publish, but in order to get a publisher, you really need to have a bigger platform. So that's what I'm trying to do now, is get out there and get the word out, build my platform, do all kinds of social media and spread the word. And so we're looking to publish the book in the fall. I have to follow all her instructions. So I'm actually going to Florida next month for a couple weeks, and I'm going to just be finishing the book and then keep speaking, keep getting out there and following her instructions. She made it real clear what I need to do, and I'm committed to getting this book out there. So I'm following all her step-by-step instructions, and hopefully, like I said, it'll be out there in September.
Okay. Well, I know the audience will all be looking forward to it. I just wanted to throw out, let's see if we can get this contact data. It'll be on the video at the bottom as well, but let's see if we can get it up there just in case you all want to. Why don't you just tell the people how to connect with you while I put
Okay. My website is Clear Path by Cindy, ClearPathByCindy. And also, if you wanted to email me, it's simple. It's Cindy@ClearPathByCindy.com. So either way, you can get a hold of me. I have a new website that's being introduced next week, which I'm very excited about because that way people can go on the website. I also do individual and couples coaching. So they'll be able to go on the website and book appointments right from my new website. So I'm very excited about that.
All right.
Oh, and I wanted to announce that this coming Tuesday, I'm doing a workshop called Establish a Clear Path to Grow Your Business. And I've partnered with Meryl Margulies from Meryl Margulies Presents. And we're going to be doing it at the Woodbury Muse in Woodbury, New Jersey at 9 o'clock. And we'd love to have you there if you'd like to come. You could go to my Facebook page and there's a link to sign up. So my Facebook page is Clear Path by Cindy.
Okay. So that's just more ways you can get a hold of Cindy for whatever you need. Definitely, if you got time Tuesday, you should come out and watch her in action, because I think we're only getting less than half an hour when you kind of break it down here, and only a few of the stories. So I'm sure they're going to get a whole lot more in that seminar. And that's kind of something that you're going to do on a regular basis, those type of seminars as an intro?
Yes. More seminars, workshops coming up. And I also am planning 2 retreats for this year. So for people who want to go away for a weekend and actually work on their 5C solution over the weekend, it's really fun. I'm working on the places right now. One will be down at the shore, and the one in the fall will probably be up in the Poconos. But I've had a lot of requests for people that want to do them. So I'll be announcing that soon also. That'll also be on the website.
Okay. And so now we're going to put that contact information at the bottom of the video. If you want to get a hold of Cindy, she's kind of giving it to you. We put it up on the screen for you for a few minutes. Any concluding comments you want to leave the audience with?
I think that it's really important that people step back from their everyday life and really figure out where they're going. You know, we have GPSs in our car, and you plug in where you want to go, but you have to have an address, right? So I call what I do a person's personal guidance system. You have to know where you're going, what you want, and who you are. And then it all becomes simple. Sometimes we just get up in the morning and we rush off to work and we get home and we do our family things and we go to bed and we just repeat over and over, like Groundhog Day, right? And just keeps repeating over and over. But it's really important to step back and take a real hard view at your life and if you're going in the right direction, so that everything you do is more productive. And I'd love to be on that journey with anyone who wants to do that.
All right.
And I want to thank you also for meeting with me, and I know you're such a great coach and you've been doing this a lot longer than I have, so you're a big inspiration to me. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
Now, it's my pleasure, and I think my audience is really going to benefit from the information that you've shown them today. We are so excited to have had Cindy here today. We're excited to have you all here every week. And, you know, as we continue to bring you people, processes, and anything else that can help you as a business owner and as a person to develop. Today, we kind of did this thing with Cindy, which was great because it's really on developing you, because we spend so much time on tools, techniques, and all that. Sometimes we forget the personal side, which I think is, as Cindy told us in the story, it can make all the difference between your success and just being regular. Because remember, it's not really about just surviving. We want you to really take off and develop, and that's the whole one of the whole reasons we do this each and every week. So again, Cindy, I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank the audience, and that kind of wraps us up. We will see you again next week. Thanks, Cindy.
Bye.